Welcome to You Can Do It. Today we're going to do the tie rod ends on a VW T5.1. Just been in for its test, and the tie rod ends on both sides, left and right, got a bit of play and everything. So I'm going to take you through taking off the tie rod ends and putting a new tie rod in, and how to do it. Okay, so the tools that we need, obviously we need a jack to lift it up, we need an axle stand to put underneath to make sure it can't come down on us. We've got obviously the breaker to break the wheel nuts. I've got a little impact driver which I use if I need to take off anything that's a bit stiff. I've got some grease there, obviously a wrench there to undo the tie rod ball joint nut, a spanner there to hold the actual tie rod arm, just so that I can loosen the nut off on the steering rack, and a selection of sockets just in case the sizes differ from the new ones. So we've got obviously two new ones here, left and right. Make sure that you get the left and right one. Here it is. I say all nice and new. So I mean, normally you'd have it retracked and everything, but I don't know, mine is all right. I just what I'm going to do is measure. What my little setup is that I measure. I put a point there right in the middle of the bottom of the ball joint, and I measure the distance between there and there, and I check the ones that come off, and if they're exactly the same, and as long as I leave the locking nut in the same place on the rack, then I can screw those back on, stick them in, and I should be good to go. Well, at least I don't need to rush and get it retracked. So that's basically the tools and the stuff. We've got two of these. So first things first, I'm going to jack the vehicle up, put the axle stand underneath it, and put a wheel chock just so that the thing can't move, and we're all safe. So let me get on and do that. Okay, before we jack it up, we need to just loosen off the wheel nuts. So we'll take the trim off and loosen up the wheel nuts. Okay, covers off, wheel nuts are loosened, and we've put a chock under there just so that the thing can't move anywhere when it's got the jack on it. So let's jack it up and put the axle stand under. Okay, she's jacked up, axle stand's there, the wheel's off the ground, so we'll just take the wheel off. Wheel's off. I like to leave it just under the vehicle like that, just so if for any reason something happens, the axle stand fails, then at least it's not going to completely crash to the ground. So let's get on to the next bit. Okay, so what we're taking off, this is the arm we're taking off, because this joint here has failed here. So we need to undo this nut here, and we need to undo this lock nut here. Now I always like to put a little bit of a Tipex on there, just so that I know exactly where it is. So when I put the new one on, I can make sure it's in exactly the same place, and that's obviously after checking that the distances are the same with my ruler. So if you leave this in now, then you can actually, you stick your spanner on here like that, and then, I mean, you can hold it with a socket there if it's a resistor, but because it's already still in, the ball joint's still in there, you can actually just sneakily do that. Look, there, she's undone there. So I now know, because of the Tipex, where that was originally. So that's just a bit loose. So now we'll undo this one here, and then we'll drift that out. I'll show you how I'll do that in a second. Okay, I've got my long bar. The nut on this is a 21mm, but the one on the nut on the replacement is a 22. So I use my long bar on there, and I can just quickly loosen that off. So that's it's on there. Look, that's loose. So I'll just use my ratchet to get that off now. Okay, I'll just use the impact driver to get that off. Okay, the nut's off. It's actually really hot to touch because I had to use the impact driver to get that off. But you see, it's got a nylon self-locking on there, so that can be a real, to be honest, bitch to get off. But what you'll find is that if it is spinning, then look, there's a little Allen key there, so you can put an Allen key up there, then just use a spanner to do it. Hopefully you won't have to do it, but sometimes you do. Okay, with these three, hammer, WD-40 and heat, you can get everything off basically. So she's off here now, she's loose, but I did have to, if you hit it here with a hammer a few times, heat the thing up, if it won't come off, heat this up with a blowtorch, get it warm, then two taps with a hammer, a bit of WD-40 in there, leave it a bit, and then come back again, a few taps, and it will pop out. I say, you can feel frustrated at the time, but they do come out, so just keep with it. So now that's out, I'll take it out. Okay, so now this is Now this is off, we can just literally undo this and screw the new one back on. I say I've got the nut here is a marker of where it should be, so it's because I only just loosely, so don't move that nut. Yeah, there's the old one off. I'll put the new one on. Okay, here we've got the new and the old. So I've measured a dot on the old one here, and if we measure those there to there, it's basically, and I'm just doing this while on video, but it's 23.3, which is basically exactly the same as that one. So they are exactly the same length, so I can literally put that back on in exactly the same place, safe in the knowledge that the tracking won't have changed. So there will be no need to retrack it. I just like to put a little bit of copper grease on there, or some sort of grease, just so that it keeps it in good condition if you need to get it retracked, or keeps it lubricated. So I'm just going to quickly screw that on. You don't need to watch me to do that. I'll do that very quickly. Okay, so that's done there. So that's just there. So I know that if I just rotate that there, that sticks, and that's basically exactly where it should be. So I know this is in the right place. Okay, so that's in. I'll put a little bit of grease on there, and I can put my new nut on there, tighten that up. That's done up now. So this nut was there, so you can see the little white mark there. So when I turn that round, that's in the same place. So I'm going to tighten that up and tighten this up, and then this side's done. So then we just need to put the wheel, obviously put the wheel back. You don't need me to show you how to do all that, but I can put all the wheel back on, do that. But that's it. So basically that's how you change your tie rod end without have the car retracked and everything. Providing those bits, the point from the centre of there to the end of there is the same on the new one as opposed to the old one, then your tracking won't have changed. So let me get on and do that. Obviously when that's all nice and tight, we'll just check that wheel and there is no movement, and then we'll get on to the other side. To do up that nut, you'll almost certainly have to use whatever tight bit goes in there. For me, that's a little Allen key, because obviously it's not locked in the taper. So what will happen is as you put that up to the locking, once it gets up to the nylon bit, then it will start to spin. So you just need to put something in like that, and then use a 22mm spanner or whatever size it is on there to tighten it up. But we've done that all nice and tight now, so we can just test it and see if there's any play, and then we're all ready to put it back together again. Okay, just remember to get your spanner and tighten this one up, which we've done there. It's all nice and tight, so we're good to go. You have done it. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up or subscribe. We're doing all sorts of works on VWs, motorbikes, everything. And if you want anything doing, or like a video on something, maybe give me a message and I'll see what I can do about it.